Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is just a quick update on some news that's broke for Dark Souls 2. This is coming via OXM, and it is translated from Famitsu, which is a Japanese magazine, which apparently this is translated from a fan's interpretation of some slides that I believe FromSoft were giving at some kind of presentation, and there's a little bit of information here that we haven't seen so far, so I thought I'd share it quickly. I will link the story that I read, and get ready for some Dark Souls 2 coverage, because I'm going to be going over my E3 impressions and gameplay analysis and stuff like that, because I haven't done it yet, and it's about time that I did. So the first thing of great importance is mentioning a move entitled a guard break, which is reportedly to be similar to the riposte system from Dark Souls, but instead of it being after a parry, you can do it after you see your opponent's guard get broken, and that is pretty interesting, because the amount of times you use stamina to break a guard happens a lot, and having the ability to do a riposte, kind of like the shuffle forward stab that they do with the Silver Tracer's secondary into an animation, could be really, really cool, and it just adds a whole extra element of strategy to the game, and hopefully to the PvP, which is the stuff that I think most of us are interested in. So after that, they've mentioned that ammo types can now be switched on the fly using the shoulder buttons, which I don't really understand, because the shoulder buttons are attack, block and parry, so how the fuck does that work? I don't get that part. That bit's just weird to me, but hopefully it makes sense in the context. Maybe it's just having the bow on, but you could already do that before. When you had your bow, you could press the right trigger and it swapped between the two things. So maybe it's every single type of arrow that you've got in your inventory, something like that. That would make more sense to me anyway. Then it goes on to speak of some new pyromancy spells and miracles. It mentions that Soul Spear is a magic that rains down from the sky. There's a Fire Whip spell, which we all know of, and a magic greatsword, which we saw in the E3 footage. It also says the powerful spell Fireball injures both the caster and the enemy, which could be really, really interesting for your crazy, gank fests. It says there's also a replenishment miracle that increases your attack and defense, which is weird. That's like power within with no deficit on it, as well as a stamina stealing orb. So that right there, if it's true, if this could be taken, it all literally means we will have stamina attacks, which is a fantastic news for the meta game and the strategy of Dark Souls. But the final piece of information here is that there's also a new breed of grass that apparently replenishes your spell count. So they've essentially given us grass, which is Old Spice. So that is pretty cool for people that want to be dedicated casters, and they were hosting in a place and they kept having to hit a bonfire. Now you're not going to hopefully have that problem, so it definitely opens it out for sorcery to be much more viable. But that is just a quick update, guys, on some Dark Souls 2 news. Thank you for checking it out, and you take care now.